Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. We're really glad you could make it. Today, we'll be showing you our new project map editor tool on the environmental screening tool. Today, we've got, I'm Ruth Roaza with the Office of Environmental Management. Peter McGilvery's also here, who leads our group, and Stephanie Clemens, who handles our help desk, will be helping us to keep us all organized within the webinar today. And Bill Beers, the lead programmer of the EST mapping tools, is with us. We're really glad that you could be here and join us today. We hope you're all healthy and safe. Our map viewer is designed for the people who, in our ETDM process, create and manage the ETDM projects and move it through the systems. So the people that this is intended to are the people that actually can edit the projects in the ETDM process. I am sharing my screen right now so that you can see the actual, let's see, got wrong screen showing. There we go. So you can see the environmental screening tool. Is that coming through?
We're seeing both screens, and the EST is a smaller screen.
Oh, I see it. There we go. I think this is better.
That's better.
Thank you. Okay, great. Okay. The map editor allows you to add a map feature of an ETDM project to the EST database. The tools available to users, as I mentioned, to create and edit the ETDM project information. Typically, this is our FDOT or MPO ETDM coordinator teams or their project members. Before adding a map feature to the database, the basic project information needs to be added. So I've set up a test project on our test server here with just some basic information about the project, some alternatives. And then when I get to our wizard that shows how to do, how to add segment information, you'll notice here that it's saying it doesn't have any segments. And that's because it needs to have the features in before I can start describing what those features are. So I am going to open our map viewer by clicking on the link here in the wizard. And like I mentioned, this is on our test server. It's totally a pretend project. I'm just wanting to show you how you can add features. So the project itself will be a little bit crazy because I'm going to be adding points and lines and polygons, and that's not a typical project. But I just do want to make sure that you can have a clear idea of how this tool works. Now, because I'm coming in from the wizard to the map viewer, you'll notice that here there's a pop-up and it's asking me which analysis area or alternative I want to edit. I've got two of them in this particular project that I have selected, and I'm going to pick number 1 here. And it will zoom into the county where my project is because that was some of the basic project information I had to put in. It was what project and what county it was in. So I use the tools just like the normal browser to zoom in. I can use my wheel. I can pan around. And I'm just going to go to an area where it has certain types of information that I'm looking for. And what I'm looking for is actually a road on our highway system because I just need to be able to find some information about it so I can show you some of these features. So I'm zooming in near this intersection of I-10 and US 90 just because it's easy for me to show you some different types of features. like I said, it's a very pretend project that I'm doing. You'll also notice that for authorized users, this project editor appears in the toolbar on the left. I can open and close other things on this by clicking the blue arrows. I'm just going to get things out of the way so that it doesn't distract so much from this presentation. So I'm just closing everything out. You don't need to do that. Because I already had a project selected, it comes right to the first screen where I can add features. If I had just opened up the map viewer and wanted to find a project from the map viewer and I didn't have a project already selected, it would have just had an open button here, which actually you're going to see a little bit later because that's also what appears when we start switching alternatives. So I'm going to click the Add Feature button. And you'll notice here that there's 3 different types of features. I can add a point, a line, or a polygon. The points can be added by adding an address or a lat long or a roadway ID and milepost from our roadway characteristics inventory. A polygon can also be added either by just freehand drawing or clicking along a polygon. And I'll show you both of these in a few minutes. I'm going to start out with the line though. There's several different ways we can add a line. We can either draw one or we can extract it from our roadway characteristics inventory base map, which is our DOT system of projects. And I'm going to do that one first because it's actually fairly straightforward and commonly used. When I click that, the first thing that happens is you might have noticed the base map changed a little bit. It's added a layer here that is our RCI database. And I can click a point where I want the start of my project to be and click another point, and that line was then extracted, and it looks like I clicked twice and got 2 lines, a really short line. So you know what, that's a mistake. I don't want that. So I can go over here in my little toolbar and actually delete the one that I didn't mean to do. And you'll notice I just, by clicking on that record, I've selected the line that I want to work on. I can rename it by default because I extracted it from RCI. It puts the RCI ID and then the from and 2-point mileposts. I can add more features, again, by clicking on that. And this time I'm going to draw a line on the map. This one would be a freehand where, for example, there might be a feature like maybe a trail or something on a road where it's not part of the RCI, so you actually have to draw it. And I notice I'm just clicking, moving my mouse and clicking again. And when I'm finished, I double click and the line's done. And it is highlighted here because it's selected. And I can rename it, like say I'm going to pretend this is like a trail beside the road because I like to hike, so I like that. And I just click off of it anywhere and I'm out of that field. Again, I can switch between my 2 features by clicking between those records. And another way to do a line is actually freehand, which is a little bit trickier, but if you're a good artist, it's like, say I wanted to follow this, I'm just clicking and then I'm dragging my mouse and voila, it's drawn a line. I'm actually just going to delete that one though. But that's how you draw freehand, how you extract, and how you draw by clicking along the vertices. Another way you can extract from the RCI base map is actually typing the roadway ID in here, a beginning milepost and ending milepost. Hit go, and it functions exactly the same way as this first line did. It pulls it from the RCI database. The only difference is like if you already know the roadway ID, it would, you don't have to go to the map and click it. So for a point, it's pretty easy. You can just click on the map to draw a point. Like, let's say I just wanted to put a point here. Another way I can add a point, so like I said, it's there. Another way to add a point is to type in an address or a named location, like this is this Pedrick Pond right here. And notice the point goes to where that address or that location is. And let's say I didn't actually want it here at the entrance. I wanted to put my point at this intersection, maybe to indicate a bus stop or some other feature that I wanted to highlight. So I've seen points being used for things like bus stops or a small bridge on a map or something like that. But those are just examples of what it could be used for. We can also put study areas or polygons in. Oh, I forgot to mention that points can also be, you can, if you know a latitude, longitude, or again, if you know the milepost from the RCI, you can type those in there as well. You can also do a polygon. Both the drawing by clicking or freehand polygons work similar to the lines. If I want to draw a polygon, like let's say I wanted to outline this intersection here as a polygon, I would probably want to zoom in first, but let's just say I just get started. I want to show you how you can start even while I'm drawing. I'm just moving to zoom in, I just moved my mouse to zoom in, and it didn't interrupt my editing. Those of you who have used our old editor, you'll probably appreciate that. But let's just say I wanted to indicate something. And one thing I wanted to point out too, as you are drawing these, you want to be very careful you do not do that. See how I made it like a figure 8? I crossed my polygon. That actually is in GIS terms a typological error, and it would actually cause problems doing the analysis. Of course, if you do that and you run into that, you just call the help desk and we'll help you get it cleared up. But that's just a word of warning about adding and digitizing features. You just do not want to cross your polygons. One thing you can do also with any of these features, I showed you how I moved a point. It was really easy, but you can also change the shape of your other kinds of features too. For example, with this polygon, I say I got it a little bit too far out. I just click on these dots here and I can move it, and the shape adjusts according to how I've moved the vertices. And when I'm done, I can just click off of it or click off of it up here. Whoops. And I've zoomed out. It zooms to the feature that you select. There it is again. One thing you can do with polygons, you can also do with lines, is splitting them. And, oh, sorry, I clicked on the map where it was thinking I was doing an identify. That's what that was. But to split the point, I click at one point and then I draw a line across it. And now my polygon has become 2 separate polygons. So I have one at the south and one at the north. That could come in handy, like if you have a large study area and you draw the whole thing, but you actually want to split it into different features to differentiate between the two of them. And when I'm all done, another thing you can do is you can do an undo or redo. Like if I really messed up and I really didn't want to split that, I could do the undo. And I was like, oops, I want to do it again. I can do the redo. And that's kind of self-explanatory. The other thing I wanted to point out before I move on is if you have any questions about the map editor, go up to the little question mark at the top here for help. There's a little pop-up where you can get your quick steps and your quick guide and a video of the project map editor. The quick steps is just a little one-pager that just shows the screen and the basic tools, and then the quick guide's a little bit more detail, and the video walks you through the whole process. It's about a 5-minute video, kind of a higher level than what we're doing today, but it does give you the basic information that you need. Information and help for the general map viewer overall can be found in help, but we put the map editor help right within the tool there for you. So let's say I'm all done entering my features. I click next. At this point, I could start the GIS analysis by clicking this button, but I've got another alternative or analysis area I want to enter, so I'm not going to do that. To start the next alternative, I just hit the X button right there, and it goes back to the beginning where I can click the open, and I can go to my next analysis area. It's actually showing me right now everything I can analyze. It goes back out, kind of assuming that the project alternative might be somewhere else than what I was drawing with the section, and I just go back to where I want my new alternative to be. I zoom in and just go through the process like I did before. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, please go ahead and put your questions in the question box. If I was actually entering this as a project, my next step would probably be to go back to my EST forms and finish filling out the information. And then just like I typically would do in the process, when I'm all done and ready, I would go to the status page and run the analysis and move it along the process. I see that I'm not seeing any questions yet. And of course, at any time, if you need to reach us, we are available at the help desk. And Stephanie or Bill or I are happy to walk through the process on a one-to-one basis. If any of you are entering projects and you're trying out the new editor for the first time, we're very happy to walk through that with you. As we mentioned at the beginning, we have recorded this, and we'll be putting it up on our OEM website under training. And there's additional training available on that website too. So I did want to show it to you. If you go to our fdot.gov/environment site, go down to meetings and events, and you'll see where you can find a whole bunch of training that we have. Our training for ETDM and the environmental screening tool is in track 7. So you click that link and you'll come to all of our on-demand training. And we do have our map viewer training here as well. And we'll be putting up our map editor information here, and actually it's actually down here under specific functions. The project input describes how to use the forms to enter the project details. And then we have our project map editor tool video is here as well, and we'll also be putting the webinar up there. So thank you again for attending the webinar, and we hope you have a nice day. Stay safe and healthy. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.